All right, we're on week 12, and of course, it is the Pack Attack. Actually, they're week 12. I don't know if they're week 12. Doesn't matter. They beat my boys. My boys, Team the Lions. So I gotta give a little shout out to my Packers this week. They're looking good. They're doing good. All right, so for week 12, our Thursday night football was Houston versus the Bills. And Houston actually did really good. Houston's defense got 15 points for Batgirl, but as was the case on most weeks, I'm pretty sure she lost again. Yes, she did, and we'll get to that later. But the Sickos, where'd it go? The Sickos did get a win, and that was in large part thanks to James Cook, his 18 points in that game. So he was the Thursday night fire starter. Double check on that. Yep. So James Cook was the Thursday night fire starter for week 12. We had 6 zeros in week 12. We had Jameson Williams, a 0 for Dr. Miles Toboggan, MD, and a 0 for Ricky Pearsall, OG Blitz Doctor. Both of those we get back come back to in 1 second. Jordan Addison had a 0 for Back Goes Bag of Tricks. Mark Andrews had a 0 for Butarski. Buffalo's defense had a 0 for the Sickos. And Luke Musgrave had another 0 for Full Mooney. And while I usually give the biggest zeros to the back-to-back 0, like Luke Musgrave would be here, but it is hard to pass up the double biggest zeros of week 12 for Jameson Williams and Ricky Pearsall, as that matchup ended a tie. So if either one of those guys, we just would have got 1 point. They could have gave their team a win. For the heroes, Mayflower got 20 points from Amon-Ra St. Brown and 28 points from Jackson Smith and Jigba to get the 107-52 win over Full Mooney. The Sickos were led to a 83-70 win over Carlos by 2 18s, one from the James Cook, as you just mentioned, and his kicker, Andy Borregales, had 2 40-plus field goals and a 50-plus field goal. I mean, that dude might have to be a Willie Beeman one of these days. Goodness gracious. The week of the kicker continues, as Butarski's second highest scorer was 16 points by Harrison Butker, who had 5 field goals, and then Wandell Robinson was his highest scorer, as he had 156 and a touchdown for 21 points to get the 103-65 win over King Rich. Jalen Hurts put up 30 points to lead beating golf over Joski 109-69. The highest single score of the week was 125 by Hawk Maneuver, which is also in the same game the highest combined score of 210, as he had Jahmyr Gibbs have 219. 219, not even combined. That's just his rushing yards. 219 rushing yards with 2 touchdowns, and then 45 yards receiving, and another touchdown for a combined score of 43 points in Howard Maneuver's 125-85 win over Batgirl's Bag of Tricks. And then Dak Prescott kept it rolling. He put up 27 points, and LA Rams defense put up 18 versus Tampa Bay with 4 sacks, 2 picks, and a touchdown to lead K-Dog's kids over Adama's Llamas. And then, that was a 96-92 victory for K-Dog's kids, the closest game of the week, a 4-point loss for Adama's Llamas. The second tie of the year happened. It was OG Blitz Doctor and Dr. Miles Toboggan, 75-75. And we're going to come back to this in a minute, but really, Lamar Jackson had I think 6. Mahomes had 16. No one on either of our teams actually did good. There was also a bunch of and we ended up with 75-75 in a tie game. The second tie of the year. I don't think we've ever had 2 ties. So there you go. The Willie Beeman for week 12. We had Shamir Dike, 44 yards and a touchdown receiving and a return touchdown for 16 points for K-Dog's kids. George Pickens had 146 and a touchdown for 20 for Dr. Miles Toboggan in our tie. Colson Loveland had 49 yards and a touchdown for beating golf. That was 10 points. Jacoby Brissett, 317 and a touchdown, 18 for King Rich. Wandell Robinson, 156 and a touchdown for 21 for Butarski. And then Quishon Junkins, 47 yards rushing and 2 touchdowns for 16 points for the Mayflower. And look, George Pickens, it wasn't a winning effort. And I had to look back 3 years. I couldn't find the 4 years ago one right now. So George Pickens hasn't been a Willie Beam for 3 years, and I think he's been in the league for 5, maybe. I don't even. It's been a while, but he does this every like he has big games and then he disappears for 5 weeks and no one starts him. So I don't know. We're gonna give him one because he's been blowing up this year. So George Pickens in the tie. So if he's been it before, he's gonna be it again thanks to the tie. And Quinshawn Judkins just to make sure we do have at least one new Willie Beeman for Week 12. The Willie Beemans for Week 12 are George Pickens for Dr. Moss Toboggan and Quinshawn Judkins for the Mayflower. And then we did have a share. We had no Monday night comeback this year. I mean, this week. We did going into it. We had the tie. So if I would have got 1 point from Pearsall, we would have had like a half a Danny Green. We didn't have nothing. No Danny Greens. We do have some share action going on. Adamas Lamas lost by 4 points, 92-96. The K-Dogs kids. He started Saquon Barkley, who had 5 points. While on the bench, he had Kenneth Gainwell, who had 92 rushing and 30 yards receiving for 12 points. If he would have started Kenneth Gainwell over Saquon Barkley, he would have won 99-96. And then in the tie, OG Bill versus Dr. Moss Toboggan, 75 points apiece. Dr. Moss started. Lamar Jackson had 7 points. While on the bench had Daniel Jones, who had 16. Could have gotten the win. He started Jameson Williams, who had 0. While on the bench, he had Alec Pierce, who had 2 points. Could have gotten the win. OG Billy Witch Doctor started Travion Henderson, who had 7 points, while Emmanuel Wilson was on the bench with a big 23 points. Would have gotten the win. And, of course, the other biggest 0 of Week 12, Ricky Pearsall got the 0. On the bench had Darius Slayton with 2 points, who could have got me the win. And there you go, guys. There you go, guys. That's Week 12 in the books.